So grateful. I want to thank Rick for setting this thing up, man. If you would have told me 4 years ago that I would be up here on a stage sharing my testimony, I would have told you were nuts. See, I was trying to be the Lord of my own life. And by the age of 20, it wasn't working. I was a drug addict. I was a thief. I didn't want to work. I had no drive in my life at all. The only thing I wanted was nothing good. One day I was at work. I started breaking down and crying out of nowhere. And my coworker came up to me. He's like, "What's wrong with you, man?" I told him these exact words. I said, "I'm tired. I've been living my life for the devil for too long, and I'm tired." Now, I grew up believing that there was no God. I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't understand the implications of what I was saying. But I knew that's how I felt on the inside. That same night, I was on my way to visit the girl I was dating, and a pedestrian ran out in front of my vehicle. I was unable to avoid hitting this person. And once again, I was trying to be the Lord of my own life. I'd never even been to jail before, never even heard of a felony. So I handled it the same way I handled every problem I've ever handled in my life. I ran. That person died later that night. I wound up turning myself in the next day, and obviously I was arrested. And for me, it was the hardest thing I'd ever been through in my entire life. I mean, my whole life was falling apart. My mom was in and out of the hospital. That girl I was going to visit was cheating on me a month later. And the whole time the state was telling me that I'm going to do 30 years in prison. I remember walking out to get my lunch tray, and a big old dude stopped me. He's like, "Hey, you know Jesus?" And I was like, "Yes, I know Jesus. If that is the right answer, yes, I know Jesus." And he pointed at a guy wrapped up in a blanket. He said, "Does he look like that dude over there?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." And he said, "Well, check this out. We have Bible study twice a day and worship once a day. And you're more than welcome to come to any one of those." I did. And it was in that moment that I felt that weight being lifted off my shoulders. When I realized that I didn't have to carry the reins and be the Lord of my own life anymore. I wound up doing 3 years in prison with 5 years probation. I've been out for 2 years now. And I want you guys to know that I haven't looked back. That once God took a hold of my life, I couldn't take it back. So maybe there's a couple of you guys in here, just maybe, that are still trying to hold on to the reins. That you're still trying to be the Lord of your own life. And maybe that's why you're here. And I've just come up here tonight to say this. That if God can do that for me, He can do that for any single one of you. So, if you guys would be so kind, I want to ask you to do something bold. I'm about to pray. And if you can, if it is something that God is leading you to do, I would just ask that you would stand with me as we pray. You don't have to. I'm not going to yell at you if you don't. But just an act of surrender, an act of obedience. So here we go.